Chicago Bears fans, welcome back to the channel. Chicago Bears drop one 20-19 on a blocked field goal against Green Bay. And my friends, there is a little bit to talk about today. The game as a whole, I would call the game as a whole, uh, I would call the game overall a success only because of what my keys to the game was. My keys to the game, I had spoke about how I wanted to see the offensive coordinator, Thomas Brown, just show some productiveness out of the offense, allow that offense to play complementary football to the defense. And he did just that for the most part. He got the Chicago Bears to score a touchdown for the first time in 27 drives. So, he allowed your offense to get 7 on the board, and he did it in the first half. So I would call the game, as far as that goes, a success. However, the game as a whole was also a massive failure. You came out very unprepared. You had a lot of penalties, a lot of offsides, a lot of encroachment penalties. You had a 12 men on the field penalty, a couple of false starts. Eberflus continues to not have this Chicago Bears team ready. And if it weren't for the players themselves making in-game adjustments, I think that this game would have been much worse. I mean, the Packers had a 4th and 2 before the half where they got you to jump off sides. That's just unacceptable, right? I mean, you got to be able to have that discipline. You have to be able to have discipline throughout the whole game. And let's just go ahead and say, your defense as a whole, that first drive was absolutely terrible. Green Bay went and scored 7, but the rest of the game, your defense did what your defense was supposed to do. And Green Bay, again, your defense under 21 points. And your offense did what they were supposed to do. They got you downfield often. They got you downfield at the end of the game when it mattered. The biggest problem that I have, you have 36 seconds left on the clock, and you do not try to get any extra yards before putting Cairo Santos out for that field goal. And there are reports that Cairo was on the sidelines yelling, "Why won't you get closer?" And I don't think that's not Cairo being not very confident in his ability to kick. I mean, it was a 43-yard field goal, and his long is 54. I don't believe that it's a confidence issue on Cairo's part, but I do believe that any other coach in the league with 36 seconds left on the clock gets you closer. And to say that those yards don't matter is just ridiculous. I mean, we saw it with that Hail Mary with the Commanders. They went and got 13 yards right before the Hail Mary, and those 13 yards proved very crucial. With 36 seconds left, you could play to the outside to try to get out of bounds and not have to use the timeout, or you can keep the ball in the middle of the field and use that timeout. It's not like it was 4th and 15 and you had no choice but to go for the field goal. You had options to be able to try to go downfield and get more points. So why don't you do it? I mean, I just don't understand it. Now, my friends, we all know that I'm not a very deep stats guy. I just kind of talk to you guys about what I see on the field, but we do have some stats to go through because I do feel like this is very important to today's episode. Caleb Williams, completion percentage, 74.2, passing yards, 31. Granted, no touchdowns because they were running touchdowns. However, 23 completions on 31 attempts. Average yards per play, 7.5. 7.5. You mean to tell me that with 36 seconds left, you could not go and get 7.5 more yards? You mean to tell me that you could not find a way to go gain more yards at all with 36 seconds left on the clock? I mean, you saw what he did with Odunze and Keenan Allen on 3rd downs and 4th downs. Why wouldn't you have faith in being able to try and get at least 5 more yards for that field goal, right? I don't I don't get it. I understand that the field goal was blocked. I understand that Cairo should have tried to get that ball up higher. But again, I mean, for as short as that field goal was, you mean to tell me that 5 yards doesn't make a difference? 10 yards doesn't make a difference? Or the way that your offense was rolling those last couple drives, you mean to tell me you couldn't get into the end zone and score with 36 seconds left on the clock and leave Green Bay no time with a kickoff? Given the fact that you have a timeout to play with and you still don't call it, this is the problem that we have with Matt Eberflus. He doesn't have time clock management whatsoever. And I understand that in this day's NFL, it is the league norm to trust your kicker with that and just run the clock out and allow the game to go down that way. But the way that you have lost the last 3 weeks, why would you not try to get that ball downfield any further? Just any further. Or perhaps, I mean, you know, with 36 seconds left, you have 2 shots at an end zone pass. You have a shot with Keenan Allen or Cole Kmet to try to get down within the 10-yard line, right? It's just ridiculous. And speaking of Cole Kmet, he finally was used today. He had 14 yards per play on average, 42 yards on 3 receptions. It's about time that we saw Cole Kmet in the game today. And 2 of those receptions were before the half. Thank God. I was so sick of not seeing Cole Kmet before the half. That itself was getting out of hand. I mean, he's tied 77th for receptions. He's 85th with 316 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's tied 30th. Average of 10.9. That is 150 plus. Last year, he was a top 3 tight end in the league. There's no reason why his stats should look that bad. I just don't understand it, my friends. I just don't understand it. And DJ Moore. We'll talk about DJ Moore. He had 8.9 yards per carry, or reception. He had 7 receptions, 62 yards. You know, and again, his long was 16 yards. I just don't understand why you wouldn't take that chance with 36 seconds left. I mean, you were having everybody get used today. I mean, we look at Odunze, 10.8 yard average. Oh, no, that can't be right. That can't be right because it says 6 receptions for 65 yards, but his average is 10.8. So something there is a little funky. I wonder if maybe he got like a handoff or something like that in the game. But even then, 65 yards on 6 receptions. You're getting everybody used today. Keenan Allen, 41 yards on 4 receptions, 10.3 yards per play. I mean, you used absolutely everybody. And while I'm here, let's look at Let's look at the running game stats today. Let's see here. I mean, DeAndre Swift had to have had himself a game today while I'm waiting for this to load. 71 yards on 14 attempts. You know, I just... And Roschon Johnson was getting in there as well. I mean, Thomas Brown proved that Waldron was massively incompetent. And he showed that if you use everybody and you're having Caleb get the ball out fast because of your offensive line, Thomas Brown is showing that this offense can still be competent with the problems that the offense has. All you got to do is play to where your strengths are. Allowing Williams to get the ball out fast. Allowing Williams to take chances on contested throws. Using all of your receivers and your tight ends. Using both of your running backs. Which, I mean, I know that, Roschon Johnson wasn't really used a whole lot before the first half. But even then, you still got everybody involved today. And then you had all the design run plays for Williams, where if he was looking at his first and second read, and if his first and second read wasn't there, whether the pocket was collapsing or not, he was taken off. And the read-run options that he had, where there was a couple of fakes to Roschon Johnson that were absolutely brilliant that went downfield for yardage for Williams. There was a couple of them on the sideline where Williams was getting downfield for yardage. Thomas Brown showed that this team, when using your weapons right, this offense can still produce. And that was all I hoped for today. I wasn't looking for a win. I said that in my keys to the game. I was not looking for a win whatsoever. I was just looking for the offense to be on an upward trajectory and show that the offense still had weapons that are viable. Not only did they did that, but they showed that they were on a winning drive going down the field, and then your head coach lost you the game with 36 seconds left by not having your offensive coordinator run an extra play. The McCaskies are showing us that they are okay with being mediocre as long as we're showing these flashes of brilliance. And we're showing that we can be good even if we're not putting that final product out there to get a W. It is 11 straight loses to the Packers. 11 straight losses. That should be so unacceptable and fireable, it's not even funny. I think that not trying to get any extra yardage with 36 seconds left should be fireable in and of itself. We have been talking for week after week how Eberflus keeps putting himself in these positions to be fired, and he will not be fired. For as much as I appreciated finally showing some competence and finally showing some accountability and getting rid of Shane Waldron, I still think that he was a total scapegoat. He wasn't the real problem. Sure, he's incompetent. Sure, he doesn't know how to call an offense. But we know that your offense or your problems start with the head coach. They start with the head coach. Eberflus still being around is only dragging this team down. And I feel like a lot of people would agree with that sentiment because, again, you went downfield on a winning drive. And this is now the second time that Caleb has done this, where you went down on a winning drive and then your coaching costs you the win. We just saw it against the Commanders. Caleb went and put you up. And then you go and not run another play. You take the ball out of your playmaker's hands, and that field goal gets blocked. I understand that you're talking about you don't want to risk a fumble or an interception or something, but your offense was moving downfield. They had done it almost all game outside of the first drive. They went downfield all game long. Thomas Brown worked absolute magic with this offense as far as I'm concerned, because he took what looked like a week ago to be complete and utter incompetence and made the offense look decent. He made the offense look decent. Not only that, but your defense also, outside of the first drive, kept you in the game. And with 36 seconds left, you take the ball outside of your playmaker's hands, you settle on Cairo, and that field goal gets blocked. And I saw a good point get brought up immediately after the game in the CHGO, I think it was. I think that's who said it, if I remember seeing that right on Twitter. I think it was them who said that the Green Bay Packers had called out that they knew that Cairo was going to kick it low because when he's outside of 45 yards or close to that 45-yard marker further back, he kicks the ball low because he's got to put leg into it to get it down far enough. So if the Packers are calling that out, how could you as the head coach not know that? And I feel bad because a lot of people on this team deserve the win today, right? I mean, Tyreek Stevenson got beat a couple of times, but he shut down his side of the field quite a bit for the most part. Obviously, Jalen Johnson got pretty much no targets on his side of the field. You had an interception at the 1-yard line, and he was smart enough to get up and take that ball outside of the 25. Your defense, after the first drive and then a couple of big plays after that, your defense, for as bad as they are at stopping the run game, shut down the run game. They shut it down. Like, as the game whole, I would say that they shut the game down. Because the way that the Packers have been running the ball, the Packers should have put up 28 points on you just in the run game alone, and they did not do that. I'm not saying that it was perfect, but outside of the first drive and a couple of big splash plays sprinkled in the rest of the game, The defense did a very good job at containing the run. Obviously, we know how they are in the red zone. They're number one for a reason. They got an interception in the red zone. The defense fought for you all game. The offense showed some competency today. After the first quarter with the penalty problems and all that, they showed that they can be productive. And you didn't go and get yardage when it mattered. It's just as bad as when you want to sit there and say that the 13 yards that the Commanders got before the Hail Mary didn't matter. 36 seconds left. You could play to the out of bounds. You could play to the inside of the field because you had a timeout left. You could have went and got more yardage. I feel bad because Caleb Williams deserves a win today. Roschon Johnson deserves a win today. DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen. Even the offensive line, for as bad as they played on the first drive, well, not the first drive, because I would say the second and third drive, because they were the second and third drive. Even the offensive line deserves a win today, because they only allowed 2 sacks today, after 9 last week against the Patriots. Your offensive line even deserves a win today. And I get it, your offensive line is also the reason that field goal was blocked. I understand that. But every player on that team as a whole deserves a win today. Because the first half was sloppy with penalties. They cleaned it up. They went and scored for the first time in 25 drives in the first half. They improved. There was so much improvement out of this team. And the head coach, once again, once you cross that 50-yard line and your offense is rolling, I'm curious to see where that final stat is of the Bears' percentage to win today. It had to be above 90%. That is another game above a 90% chance to win that Matt Eberflus gave up. Unbelievable. Listen up, Bears fans. You give me your opinions down below. Who is your players of the game today? Who did you see a pleasant surprise out of? I would give mine to the offensive line because they only gave up 2 sacks, one of which was on an unblocked pressure. That play got blown up from the beginning, so I'll take that one out of the equation. There was only 1 real sack that I had a really big problem with today. I give my hats off to the offensive line. They did much better today. The game was schemed much better today by Thomas Brown. The offense showed what they could do when you play to their strengths. Getting the ball out fast, not allowing the defense time to get to Williams, allowing the bigger plays to develop throughout the game. Like I said, that Cole Kmet had, a 24, 28-yard pass right there? I mean, come on. Thomas Brown showed what you could do with this Bears offense when you play to their strengths, and I think he did it very well. So, what is your big takeaways from the game? What were you surprised at most today? Was it the defense shutting down the run as good as they did for most of the game? Was it the interception in the red zone, showing that the Bears are the number 1 red zone defense? I mean, was it Roschon Johnson and DeAndre Swift showing up today? Was it DJ Moore and Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen being used as they should be used today? Let me know what your opinions are in the comments section below. The season, I mean, we can kiss the playoffs goodbye at this point, but the season's not over. We could still improve through the end of the year to give Caleb some confidence going into year 2. Even though we lost again because of the coaches today, I still think that there is a lot to be proud of with how the defense or the offense improved themselves, showing what they can do when you play to their strengths. So, again, just let me know your comments below. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, my friends, and hit that notification bell because we all know that YouTube algorithm sucks. We will catch you for Media Day, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You guys have a good night and start your week off on the right foot tomorrow. We'll catch you later.